20 years ago, I wrote a series called The Sister Chicks, and the books just took off. It was time of chick lit, and they were two best friends off on a lark, and they were so fun to write. And I went to all the places that I wrote about, Australia and Paris and Venice and England. And because those books did really well, then, it was 20 years ago when that first released. And I came back to those books thinking maybe I want to write another Sister Chicks book. And so I just put it on social media and I said, hey, did any of you read Sister Chicks? And do you think I should write another book? There's 8 of them, but should there be a 9th? Because I'm kind of thinking of writing about Africa. I've been to Kenya twice and on a safari, and I'd like to write that. And I had over 1,200 replies on social media and many personal emails, and they all came back and said, yes, write more travel stories, but do a new series and start with the characters being a little younger, like late 30s and 40s, because we grew up reading Christy Miller books, and now that's how old we are, and we want to read about characters going through the life situations we are. So I started working with Revell Publishers, and we established, well, let's call it the Suitcase Sisters series. We'll have different women in each book and send them to different places around the world. And on these trips they take, they open up their hearts to each other, and they discover that God is so much bigger than they ever thought. Because when you get out of your routine at home and how everything seems so normal, and you have to trust God in a bigger way when you travel, then you really grow and you really see his hand at work in your life. So I started with Africa then, and the title had to be Tea with Elephants, because I have a friend who's from Kenya, and she took me on one of my trips to a hotel at the top of Mount Kenya, and it's in the treetops. And at the very top level, they serve tea at 4 o'clock. And you go up to this very top level and look down at the watering hole, and all the giraffes and the elephants come to the watering hole at twilight. And you sit up there, and a server comes with a silver teapot and china cups, and you are very posh. You have tea with elephants. And so I knew I wanted to put that scene into the book, which it's there. And it was such a vivid life moment when Wambura and I were there, because here's friendship. She lives on the other side of the world. We're connected heart to heart, having this experience together and realizing the power of friendships. And we need to tell those stories. She's a writer as well. So that was the first book, Tea with Elephants. And then I love Italy. I've been a couple times. And so I thought, I'm going to send the next 2 friends to northern Italy. They'll take a cooking class in Tuscany and take a gondola ride in Venice. And so that's what happens in Gelato at the Villa. So when I wrote Gelato at the Villa, I took 2 new characters, and it's Grace and Claire. I loved in the 3rd book that I chose to make the 2 friends actually cousins, and they grew up together and they know each other very well. They have all these old jokes. So when they're on their trip, they can be like sisters, like they're teasing each other and reminding each other of certain things. So that was a lot more fun. Whereas the first 2 books, Tea with Elephants and Gelato at the Villa, these are longtime friends, but you have to really be at that deeper level to really tease somebody. And that's what happened in the 3rd book. Yeah, I do think that the settings end up becoming a character in and of themselves in the book, because they have the real gift I've experienced as a writer has been to travel so much to so many places. And so I come back, and the memories of those places are as vivid as an important conversation or the fragrances. And so in Tea with Elephants, there was one scene where I was writing about when they were on the safari and the Jeep stopped and they saw a lion. And the sun had just lowered beneath the clouds, so it was no longer gray, but this, which really happened to us in the Jeep, and this golden light on this lion, and he just lifts his head, and it just had that sense of, oh, this is why lions are exalted, and the king of the jungle and the Lion of Judah. Like, you could feel it, you could see it. And that only, it wouldn't happen at a zoo, or it wouldn't happen in a picture of a lion. It's being there and smelling the savannah and seeing the sunset. And then with Gelato at the Villa, um, I mean, Venice, come on. Venice gets into you, and you can just feel that the history there, the richness of the culture and the people. And so that was a delight to have the challenge to write about Venice as if it were an old friend. And I wanted everybody to like her as much as I do.